You're watching KTVO, Channel 3. Now, from across the heartland and around the world, this is News for the Heartland Late Edition with Marlene Speece, Chris Hunt, Chris Gentry, and John McConnell.
Hello, I'm Marlene Speece.
And I'm Chris Hunt. Former President Reagan has ended a day of testimony in federal court in Los Angeles.
Reagan testified in a videotaped deposition behind closed doors. He traveled to the courtroom to tell about his role in the Iran-Contra affair. The testimony will be used by defense lawyers for former National Security Advisor John Poindexter. Poindexter entered the courtroom a few minutes after Reagan arrived. Poindexter is on trial for his role in the Iran-Contra scandal.
The Missouri Department of Natural Resources is trying to drum up support for a bill now being considered that would increase fees to local treatment plants. The federal government is ending funding for water pollution control grants, and the DNR wants to keep the program and pay for it with higher fees on discharge permits. DNR Director Terry Mahan was in Kirksville today to urge support.
The bottom line is that if we don't get this bill passed in this legislative session, and it's the second session that's been introduced, Missouri won't have a water pollution control program.
Mahan says the DNR will lay off several people without the fee increase, and he says it would leave about 5,000 wastewater treatment facilities without adequate regulation.
Ottumwans are paying higher tax rates than many other Iowans. But KTVO's Tamara Bennett reports other factors could actually keep the amount of total tax dollars lower than the other cities.
Ottumwa's municipal tax rate is at its maximum. It's also the second highest rate in the state this year among the biggest 25 Iowa cities. Officials say the city tax rate is also the reason for high property taxes.
The very direct reason is simply that our assessed value per capita is quite a bit lower than most cities our size.
Residents pay nearly $17.43 per $1,000 assessed valuation of their taxable property. That means the owner of a $50,000 home would pay a city tax bill this year of just over $870. Officials say property valuations are not generating enough dollars, causing the city's tax base to fall behind the rising cost of city services.
We have not done things in this city that need to be done. We can't operate with equipment that's 30 years old. It's just inefficient. It doesn't get the job done in a timely manner.
The problem is that there is not a lot of home building being done. I don't know if that's going to change. Hopefully that'll change in the next few years. But we can't base our future budgets and projections on hopes.
Officials don't expect the sales tax levy to drop by much over the next several years. Residents, however, will get the chance to vote on a sales tax proposal, part of which will go towards property tax relief. Tamara Bennett, News for the Heartland, Ottumwa.
Tamara says because of lower assessments than other cities, the owner of a 4-bedroom house in Ottumwa would pay less in taxes than a person who owns a similar 4-bedroom house in another part of Iowa.
The public got its first chance to meet with a woman trying to become Northeast Missouri State University's first female president. Dr. Kayla Stroop met with college faculty and students earlier today and met tonight with community members. She is the former president of Murray State University at Murray, Kentucky. She is also a finalist for the president's position at Southeast Missouri State University. One more candidate for Northeast presidency is expected in Kirksville in the next 2 weeks.
Coming up, the effort of a California family to keep a teenager alive.
And a Bloomfield, Iowa woman charged with arson makes a special request.
Meet the Johnsons, a nice couple with a bad grass problem in their soybeans. Little do they know as they watch for some sign that their post-herbicide is working, that help is on its way. Assure from DuPont. Assure goes to work on foxtail faster than Post and gets shatter cane, volunteer corn, and other tough grasses fast. So keep up with the Johnsons. Get dead grass fast with Assure. Only from DuPont.
Either you win or you win. What's this?
Oh, that's the big deal with the Missouri Lottery. Yeah, now they've got 2 scratch-off games going at the same time, so you can pick your game or do what I do, play both. And with this new promotion, you just can't lose.
Oh, you can't lose? Right.
Really, it's true. When you buy 5 connected tickets like this and don't win cash, you win 3 more tickets free. You can't lose.
Beat you to the ticket.
The Missouri Lottery's either you win or you win promotion. Play today. Get ready. We just took an Oldsmobile from the bestseller list and put it on the best buy list. Oldsmobile 88, the best-selling full-size car in the Midwest since 1984, now has $1,500 cash back. That's a full $1,500 cash back.
This is the new generation of
You get $1,500 cash back on any new 1990 Oldsmobile 88 now through March 22nd. See your Oldsmobile dealer and save today.
See the Tri-State Olds dealer nearest you today.
Funeral services are scheduled for Sunday for longtime Adair County Clerk Max Patterson. Patterson died last night after a battle with cancer. Many of the courthouse doors were closed today in memory of Patterson, who's remembered fondly by many across Northeast Missouri. Patterson was a familiar face on KTVO News as we covered Adair County elections, and Max gave us election results as quickly as he could. Patterson is survived by his wife, Shirley, 5 children, and 8 grandchildren.
A woman charged in connection with a Bloomfield, Iowa fire is asking to be examined by a psychologist. 36-year-old Diane Manley's attorney is asking for his client to be given a test to determine her level of intelligence and her ability to understand questions that she has been asked by law enforcement officials. The building Manley lived in was destroyed by fire in January, and investigators say the fire started in her apartment and an accelerant helped spread the blaze.
Doctors are calling it an incredible medical long shot. But for a Los Angeles couple whose 17-year-old daughter is dying of leukemia, it's their only hope of saving her life. The couple are having another child in hopes the baby will be a compatible bone marrow donor for their dying daughter. A nationwide search for a suitable donor turned up nothing. Doctors say the odds are 1 in 4 that the baby girl due in April will provide a compatible match.
Storms in the south are causing chaos tonight. High winds destroyed 15 homes and injured 10 people in the West Georgia town of Carrollton. At least 300 people were evacuated from another small town as the storms caused massive flooding. The Chattooga River is over its banks and has damaged dozens of homes and businesses. A tornado ripped into Enterprise, Alabama today. Some trailers were under 6 to 9 feet of water. Several inches of rain fell. And today we just had cold weather here after a couple days of sleet, freezing rain, and
that
snow.
Was the same storm system that caused all the damage down south, and there were 2 fatalities today with that storm system, one in Georgia and one in North Carolina, both from floodwaters.
So they got rocked.
Yeah, and we're starting to get toward that time of year where we're looking at severe thunderstorms and tornado. It starts first in the south. We have another big storm system next week to contend with, but the weekend looks pretty good. We'll talk about it coming up.
Okay, I done it, but I ain't guilty. No use running from it, 'cause I ain't guilty.
Say hello to new Hostess Light snack cakes with 0 cholesterol. Hostess Lights are 97% fat-free, 97% guilt-free.
No, I ain't guilty.
Not with Hostess Light.
No, I ain't guilty.
97% guilt-free.
Shazam! Golly!
Clothes don't make the man, or in your case, I think clothes do make the man.
Since my hair has been gray, there's not enough of me to go around.
Weeknights at 11:30 right here on Channel 3.
She said yes. Now it's time to make the arrangements. Troster's Clothing has the formal wear to make the day special. We rent through Desmond's Formal Wear, featuring tuxedos by After 6, Raffinati Formal, Pierre Cardin, and Christian Dior. Register in February to get a 10% discount. And if you rent 5 or more tuxedos, the groom's is free. Let Troster's Clothing and Desmond's Formal Wear add the finishing touch of class to the day you'll always remember. Tonight's forecast is brought to you by the Missouri-Iowa Rural Electric Cooperatives.
It's been so long since we've had any cold weather that just getting back to what we would normally have this time of the year seems downright cold. You'll notice the temperature difference as we go off to the northwest here in the teens across southwestern Iowa, northwest Missouri. Trenton has 12 degrees, where as you get to the east, temperatures are still holding basically in the 20s. That's because we've had a patch of clouds that have been causing a few snow flurries, and the clouds have kept the temperatures up. Where it cleared out early this evening here, the temperatures have dropped more quickly. Ottumwa has now cleared out, and your temperature has dropped to 18 degrees. It's still 21 at Kirksville, 22 at Macon. The dew point right now is at 12 degrees. That gives us a 67% humidity. The winds are still strong at 17 miles per hour out of the west-northwest. That makes the wind chill factor 6 degrees below zero, and the barometer is rising at 30.27. And by this time last night, most of the precipitation had ended. In the past 24 hours, just a couple of hundredths of an inch and some flurries that came down overnight. Lows this morning were in the mid-teens to the low 20s, and highs occurred at midnight last night in the low 30s, and then temperatures began to drop as the winds began to pick up. The storm system continues to move off to the east, still producing a lot of thunderstorm activity on the east coast, still producing some snow up around Lake Superior, some flurries still washing back through the Great Lakes area, and another storm system coming on into the northwest. The eastern storm system still producing big thunderstorms up here in southeastern New York State. Most of the severe weather that occurred today in the southeast has moved off the coast now. Since the storm moved out into the Midwest and the east yesterday, there have been more than a dozen tornadoes extending from Louisiana across Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, even one in the Missouri Boot Heel yesterday. Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, even Virginia, Maryland, Delaware getting in on the severe weather. A massive severe thunderstorm and tornado outbreak, and there have been a lot of flash floods with this, too, as very heavy rainfall up to 11 inches in Georgia. The subtropical jet stream bringing all that moisture in, helping to produce the heavy rainfall. You can see how the jet streams merge here. The polar jet stream and the subtropical jet stream come together. That is producing all the energy that produced the severe weather. Meanwhile, out in the west, this next storm system coming in is going to drop southward. That is going to push this into the polar jet stream south, and these two jet streams will once again get together and cause this to become another very intense storm as it marches out eastward. Between the storm systems, though, we have this patch of clear skies. That'll be working in here for the weekend. Temperatures will start to warm up on Sunday as we get south winds ahead of this next western storm. Look at the big, huge swirl of clouds here. This is a massive storm. It's really bad in the mountains of Northern California where they've got blizzard conditions right now. You can see by the puffiness of the clouds here, that is always an indication of very cold air aloft. And when you get very cold air aloft, that means the storm is going to hold together and become intense. The Gulf of Mexico should be wide open in preparation for this storm to get out into the nation's midsection, so I think we're going to see another big one next week. Ahead of it, though, the weekend should be pretty good. For tonight, it'll be clear. Low temperatures dropping down to around 10. Some spots could even get down to around 5 or so. Variable winds after they die down after midnight. Saturday will be sunny. It'll be warmer, well, a little bit warmer, 35 to 40. South to southeast winds at 5 to 15. Saturday night, the south winds hold up there, and that'll hold the temperatures up into the mid-20s, even though we do have clear skies. Sunday will be sunny. The winds pick up out of the south to southwest, and that'll push the temperatures up to 50. And if we didn't have all the snow and ice around, we'd see temperatures warmer than that. As we get into Monday, the clouds come on in ahead of the next storm system. Some rain developing Monday night, rain or thunderstorms on Tuesday, and rain may change over to ice or snow by Wednesday. All of that's a little tentative because we don't know the exact track of the storm. The computers right now are saying it's going to track just to the north of us, which would keep us on the warm side of it, basically, but you never really know.
But that's a little ways off, and for the weekend, it doesn't look too bad.
Pretty good, especially Sunday.
Okay, we'll enjoy it. Thanks, Chris. Marlene?
An Agriculture Department report says rising farm income is helping rural banks and other lenders recover from the tough 1980s. The Ag Department looks for a more stable farm sector in the early 90s. And now we have the figures from Midwest Livestock Markets.
We're committed to safety at your rural electric cooperatives. With our hydraulic lift trucks and power equipment, we can safely overcome potentially dangerous situations. Your local cooperative in Milan, Lancaster, and Bloomfield will cut or trim trees that endanger service to you. Just give them a call. Always use common sense when working with power equipment or around power lines. Let's work together on safety. A message from your Iowa and Missouri rural electric cooperatives.
Streak, the new tic-tac-toe scratch game from the Iowa Lottery. Win your share of 17,000 top prizes before they're all gobbled up.
Take on dirt, grease, and grime with a pack of 3 True Test professional cleaners. Just $2.98 in February at participating True Value hardware stores.
In Heartland headlines tonight, as the Ruben Diaz's murder trial resumed today in Nevada, Iowa, things got out of hand. The defendant and brother Eustaquio Diaz's tangled as Eustaquio was making his way to the stand. Ruben Diaz's is charged with killing Eustaquio's girlfriend, 20-year-old Jennifer Gardner.
A 34-year-old man is charged with raping and murdering a 5-year-old girl in Columbia, Missouri. The Boone County prosecutor also filed a kidnapping charge today against Norman Wickazer of Columbia. He was arrested on the basis of DNA tests. The body of 5-year-old Famia Montgomery was found in a field near her home last November.
The sharp increase in liquid propane gas prices during December's cold spell has prompted a proposal in the Iowa Senate that would regulate the gas prices. The proposed legislation is in response to complaints from rural customers who say their home fuel bills soared late last year as temperatures dropped.
The Heartland Treasure Hunt helps dozens of people collect money owed them by the Missouri and Iowa Treasurer's Office. Ethel Miles of La Plata is owed $245, and Tomes W. Stock of Milan has $150 waiting. There's a $705 check waiting at the Iowa Treasurer's Office in the name of Vern McDonough of Ottumwa, and Lewis Horn of Bloomfield has $570 coming to him. Contact your Treasurer's Office for details.
Sports is next, and John McConnell's coming up.
He's coming up. He's got a lot of high school scores and some highlights, and we'll find out what else he has.
Okay, that's next.
Did you hear the national report on jobs in the next 10 years?
Yeah, it said that computer programming is one of the fastest growing occupations in the entire economy.
The Indian Hills Buena Vista Cooperative Program offers an affordable 4-year degree in computer programming. Labor statistics indicate a large demand for programmers with a bachelor's degree. 100% of our 1988 graduates are employed in computer-related jobs. Classes meet only 4 days a week on Indian Hills campus in Ottumwa. Call us at 515-683-5206.
Always like a mother and a child.
Always like a handshake and a smile. Some things never change.
All things always.
Just as Scouts pledge to always help others, Walmart pledges to always keep a generous supply of the brands you trust in stock. Walmart, always the low price on the brands you trust. Always.
Welch's Cash Saver. Welch's Cash Saver.
This week at Welch's Cash Saver, get Hunt's Ketchup for 99 cents. Also save on Best Choice Pink Salmon for $1.79 and Hills Brothers Coffee for $3.99. Lean pork steak is a family pleaser priced at $1.09 a pound in the family pack at Welch's Cash Saver.
Family saving all over the store. Welch's Cash Saver. Where you'll always save.
Tonight's sports brought to you by Trenton Ford, Mercury, Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge.
Kirksville High basketball teams played host to the Marshall Owls tonight at Tiger Gym in a varsity doubleheader. Turned out to be a bad night all around for Kirksville High. In the boys' game, Tigers got behind very early by a dozen points, could never catch up. Marshall won the ball game going away. Final score, 71-49. Owls had 5 players scoring double figures, led by T.J. Harper, who finished the night with 18. Excuse me, the only Tiger hit double figures, Garen McCuskey, who had 11. Owls won at 71-49, handing the Tigers their 4th straight loss and dropping KHS to 5-16 on the season. Marshall also came away the winner in the girls' game tonight, knocking off the Lady Tigers 51-42, the final. Marshall led all the way in the girls' game, too. Kirksville could never get back into things. For Marshall tonight, Joanne Jones led the scoring with 20 points. Tracy Russell, the only Kirksville girl to hit double figures, she finished with 18. The loss drops the girls to 10-10 on the season. So Marshall wins them both, 51-42 in the girls' game, and the boys' game 71-49. Excuse me again. Ottumwa boys won their final home game of the year tonight. They upped their record to 11-7, beat Fort Madison 78-67. Washington an 88-47 winner over the Fairfield boys, also in the Southeast 7. Keokuk 81 Mount Pleasant 53. Davis County, Knoxville 57-52. Knoxville beats Davis County. In the Tri-Rivers Conference tonight, Putnam County 53-46 winners over Knox County. Putnam County wins the boys game 66-55. It was Marceline 45-32 over Milan in the girls game. In the boys game, Marceline won 70-65. I think I had what Marlene had last night. In North Shelby, Brookfield, North Shelby 60-46 over the Brookfield girls. The boys 86-54. North Shelby wins that one. Scotland, Schuyler County 62-37. Scotland County wins it. The boys game 59-44. Scotland over the Schuyler County boys. Also tonight, Green City and Buckland, or there's a Princeton-Worth County 86-43 Princeton over Worth County. The boys game goes to Princeton 60-42. Also in the other games tonight, Buckland 53-51 over Green City, and it's Buckland 71, Green City 66 in the boys game. Well, the University of Illinois basketball program could be in very serious trouble over possible NCAA violations. Bud Fotopoulos has a report that explains just what those violations include.
Talk of death penalties premature. It may be premature, but there is no doubt the major accusations against Illinois could bring the death penalty if they're true. They involve Deion Thomas, a Chicago high school All-America, who allegedly was offered $80,000 to attend Illinois. Thomas, who is sitting out his freshman year while the investigation goes on, says he did say that to an Iowa assistant coach to get him off his back, but that he never was offered anything illegal. Illinois also is charged with offering Alfonso Ellis, now a star at Notre Dame, improper inducements. Neither Ellis nor Thomas has been allowed to speak to reporters about the charges. Illinois Chancellor Morton Weir and Athletic Director John Makovic said the school would cooperate fully with the NCAA.
We hope, of course, for a positive resolution of these matters, but it is likely to be some time still before this process comes to an end.
We intend to get to the bottom of everything. We will answer everything. We'll cooperate. We'll provide as much information as necessary. If we think something's wrong and we find it, yes, we're going to stand up to that, to the committee. But if we don't, then we're going to argue vigorously against that just as well. The assistant coach accused of offering the money is Jimmy Collins. He denies it.
I've answered that question so many times, I'm really pissed off that G asked me that.
Well,
angry
or not, do it one more time. And Coach Lou Henson says he's glad the charges are official so that they can be answered.
We're really happy that the allegations are here because now we know what we're dealing with, and we've cooperated with the university and the NCAA, and we will continue to do that.
Henson has been coaching at Illinois for 15 years. It's the first time his programs there have come under investigation. Bud Fotopoulos, ABC News.
Major League Baseball camps remain locked out for the weekend with more labor talks scheduled for Monday. A session was held today. And for the first time since negotiations began, there's a hint that something positive might be in the offing.
The discussions have become focused quite precisely on the issues which divide us. They are serious discussions. Important questions are being asked. I think it's safe to say that we feel for the first time over the course of the last several days that the clubs are seriously interested in at least seeing if an agreement is possible.
Wrestling team finished fifth at the NCAA Division II Midwest Regionals at SIU Edwardsville today. Failed to qualify anyone for the Nationals. Bulldogs did have three players. Wrestlers finished third. Dave Gainey at 118, Jason Lund at 150, and Justin Namovich at 167. College basketball this weekend. Indian Hills hosts Elgin tomorrow. Iowa plays at Indiana. Iowa State hosts Kansas State. Northeast travels to Lincoln. And a big game Sunday. Missouri Tigers will be at the Hearn Center. They'll entertain the Oklahoma Sooners. And if Mizzou wins that, when the polls come out Monday, the Tigers should be back at number one.
All right.
All right, go Tigers. When we come back, we'll have a review of the new movie, Loose Cannons.
And we'll also tell you about a sticky situation that has a small town looking for hundreds of sponges.
Hey, truck fans, Trenton Ford, Mercury, Chrysler, Plymouth Dodge is your pre-owned truck headquarters. How about an 88 Jeep Cherokee loaded in only 26,000 miles? An 87 Dodge 4x4 LE package, 31,000 one-owner miles. An 87 Dodge Dakota LE 4x4 loaded at only 27,000 miles. Or a nice 86 Ford F-250 XLT Lariat loaded and only one owner. And don't forget this week's low price specials. Remember, if it's not Trenton priced, it's overpriced. Trenton Ford, Mercury, Chrysler, Plymouth Dodge, Trenton, Missouri.
We're your friendly neighborhood Jack and Jill Food Store.
This week, you'll save on Imperial Stick Margarine. A 1-pound box is just 55 cents. 12-inch sizes of Tony's Deli-style pizzas are now only 2 for $4. Love's diapers for boys or girls are on sale for only $8.49. And a 4-pound, 3-ounce box of Tide powdered laundry detergent is just $3.39.
At your friendly neighborhood Jack and Jill Food Store. Caught in a love triangle up at Taco Bell. When I tried that new steak taco with a soft tortilla, yeah. And then I took a bite of the new chicken taco and it stole my heart as well. And I was already in love with that original taco with the crunchy shell. I got caught. I better run for the border.
Loveland, Colorado is known as the Sweetheart City, but had too much sickening sweet stuff on their streets today.
A 3-story high molasses tank ruptured today, sending thousands of gallons of molasses oozing over city streets and into an irrigation ditch.
The spill forced a kindergarten to close and block the street and several businesses. The city manager says he may use pancakes to clean the mess up.
And we have one reviewer who says this might be a mess. One of Hollywood's best-known dramatic actors is teaming up with one of Hollywood's best-known funny men in Loose Cannons.
ABC's Joe Lovett has a look at the cop comedy.
I never thought I would ever see a film that couldn't be saved by the presence of Gene Hackman, but let me introduce you to Loose Cannons. It's a thoroughly vulgar and unpleasant film in which Hackman stars as a police detective entangled in a plot to publicize a pornographic film starring Adolf Hitler. Are you sure you want to hear about this? The comedic crutch of this picture is supposed to be Dan Aykroyd as his new partner, an unconvincingly psychotic soul who assumes different personalities from the Roadrunner to Pee Wee Herman, none of which is even remotely funny. Besides the heavy burden of the distasteful subject matter, Loose Cannon suffers from a gritty appearance and the presence of Dom DeLuise as a sleaze king. It's no surprise that Loose Cannons was created by one of the worst writer-directors working today, Bob Clark, who also gave us 2 of the Porky's films and Turk 182. It seems the only way he could remind audiences that they're watching a comedy is by having his characters stand around laughing at their own jokes. They think this is funny? Now that's acting. Loose Cannons earns only a half a popcorn box out of a possible 4. Now I'd like to report that the new film Madhouse is a much brighter and much funnier comedy, but I can't. It almost starts out respectfully with John Larroquette and Kirstie Alley as a newly wedded couple in a newly purchased home, putting up with the usual drawbacks of unwanted movie house guests, including home movies.
I'm sorry. Oh, my God. Did you ever do anything to eat? Honey, you know, when you told me that you were big for your age, I thought you meant you were tall.
If I may resort to trite wordsmanship, this Madhouse is a bad house. It earns only a half a popcorn box out of a possible 4. Joe Lovett, ABC News.
Well, there's a couple to avoid.
Yeah. Has he ever liked any movies?
I don't think he has.
A couple final
Some
scores.
other boys basketball scores. Van Buren beat Wayne 79-65. New London over Fort Madison Aquinas 88-58. And Cardinal Stritch 87. Nauvoo Calusa 85. Women's College, Illinois College over Iowa Wesleyan 78-54. Big weekend in sports.
A lot of basketball. What's the score on the forecast?
Well, the sun's going to start to melt some of this ice on the ground. We're going to see temperatures climbing to maybe 40 on Saturday, 50 on Sunday, depending on how much of the ice we get rid of. If we didn't have all that stuff on the ground, we'd be looking at well into the 50s on Sunday, but 50 is not bad.
Well, enjoy the weekend. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you for joining us. Nightline's next. Good night.
Good night.